So let's go ahead and tackle the rest of the materials. So we'll start with the floor here. So this I know is a white oak floor. So I'm going to click this and let's go over to the wood category. Okay. You'll notice here we've got a bunch of different subcategories. We've got aged wood, definitely not the look we're going for. There's flooring, planks, siding, and regular wood. We want to be under flooring. And personally, I usually go with this one. This usually meets like my client's needs, and it's usually what they wind up installing, something that looks very similar to this. So I'm going to click this, double click. Okay, cool. So looking at it, I think the scale can go a little bit bigger. Generally a wider plank is going to look nicer. So I'm just going to go over here, increase the scale. Okay, perfect. And I'm going to rotate the flooring to go the other way. So I'm going to go under UV and let's change the heading. Okay, cool. And I'm just going to move the texture down just so we don't have this seam right here. Go under X. Hit it right there. Okay. All right, perfect. All right, so now we've got to tackle our ceiling and our paints here. So generally with the ceilings, they're kind of like a white gloss. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to library. So generally with how Lumion's catalog is named, plasters are very close to paints. So I'm going to search for plaster. And we want something that looks, something like this. Yeah, we can go with this. And double click this. Okay, great. I'm going to make this pure white, so I'm going to lower this, right? And let's zoom in. Yeah, you see how we've got that nice painted look? Exactly. All right, awesome. Let's do some weathering, right? And we'll do some soften edges. And I'm just doing this because I'm going to wind up copying this all throughout. So I'm going to grab this, copy, and then I'm going to paste on the rest of the walls. And for the interior walls, this client typically goes with like a light gray. So all I'm going to do is change my color chip right here to be something like that. It's a little too dark. Let's go a little higher. Something like that, just so we can differentiate, right? Okay, great. So now we've got this. So generally this is just a white painted rim for our lights. So I'm just going to grab our ceiling paint. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paint this the same color. Okay, cool. Some people make this like black, and since it's a different channel, you could easily do that, but I'm not a big fan of that. You could also make it a different color, but I generally like to have it close to the ceiling color. I'm going to make it slightly different just so it doesn't match 100%, but that's what I do. Then over here, we have our light fixture. So here, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of fake the look that the lights are on, right? This is where the emissive slider is going to come into play. So if you look under properties, you're going to see emissive strength. That is basically going to make the light glow, right? And that's going to make it look like that they're on. So I'm going to go in close, and I'm just going to change the color to look slightly warm. Okay, and we're going to boost that just so it looks like they're on. And we're going to go in and we're going to place artificial lights and everything. That way this space is lit. But that's what this guy is for. It's going to look brighter once we have like the bloom effect and lens flare effect on. So I'm just going to leave this somewhere around here for now. And we can always go back. But this is generally what I do to make it look like it's on, right? So we've got that. What else? We've got some doors here. We've got trim. So for the trim, I'm just going to use the same color as our cabinet. Okay, it's usually just a painted gloss paint. And it's white, and I like the contrast between the two. Okay, and I'm going to paste it here as well. And here as well. Okay, and let's change the glass. That way it's not 100% see-through. So I'm going to go to my library. Let's check out our glass options. And let's go with milky glass. just because I want it kind of see-through, but not super see-through. So let's do this. Double click this. Okay, good. Yeah, because we don't want to see all the way through. It's kind of like a privacy glass, right? Okay, we've got that. And now let's fix some of our materials here. Okay, this should be like a wood. This can be like wood legs or metal legs. I'll leave that up to you. I'm going to go with a wood leg just because I like that more. And I can go with this subfolder wood, and I'm just going to get different types of like solid wood. Okay, let's check this out. Okay, cool. I like that. Probably going to just play with the roughness a little bit. I'm going to lower the scale. Make it slightly shinier. And then I'm going to go to my weathering and then soften. Okay. And then this should be like a fabric or leather. So let's click this. Okay, we'll go to library and let's look for a leather. So I'm going to search here. Okay. Double click this. And you could choose your own, right? You don't need to match this 100%. Let's go back. Kind of like this one a little bit, and then maybe we desaturate it. Yeah, I like the texture we're getting here, but I think it's definitely a little too vibrant. Yeah. Kind of like that it picks up the color of the wood. Okay, so same thing, soften edges. Weathering, yeah, it's a little too much, so I'll leave that there. Okay, great. And over here, we've got some jars here. We can make this glass, or we can just make it solid white. I think I'm just gonna make these white jars. So I'm just gonna click this. So you know what? I can actually just grab my cabinet material. Let's do that. I'm gonna paste that there. Yeah, perfect. Okay, that texture's fine. This, I could replace this with like a concrete look, but it's actually not bad. I can kind of play with some of the settings here. Yeah, make it a little slightly shinier. Okay, great. So you'll notice here that there's actually no texture map. A little cool thing about Lumion is based on the texture you put in here, you can actually have it generate a normal map for you. So check that out. So now it's going to have relief information. So that's pretty nifty. So you don't have to go into Photoshop and generate that. So I like that. That's cool. Okay. And let's see what's in here. Okay, that looks like it picked up my light from over there. Okay, cool. So the kitchen's actually in a pretty good spot. So what I like to do before I move on to like the next space is just set up a camera real quick. And I'm going to go to Save Changes. Right before I do that, now that I'm looking at the floor, it looks a little bit orange. So let's just desaturate that. Add some weathering while I'm here. Yeah, much better. Okay, cool. So now I'm going to go to camera settings right over here. And let's just set up a quick camera. So like I said earlier, I like 25 and above. This is my personal style. I hate when views are like this because it makes it look so much bigger. You know, I prefer to show, you know, a realistic representation of the space. So I want to have all the kitchen in here. And we'll have to add the materials here. But this is a pretty good angle, right? So I'm just going to save this for here. And let's say this was the only scope of the room, right? And I didn't want to do the other spaces. I know that this chair's in the way, so then I would actually go and materialize that. So that's one of the benefits. So I've done the preview here. It doesn't look great, and that's really because we haven't added, you know, our ray trace engine or anything. So watch this. If I were to add this, that's going to make it start ray tracing. And, you know, I know the coloring's all off because there's no, you know, sunlight in here, but you can see the reflections look much, much better. So let's make this, leave that at 128. It's going to take longer to think because there's no direct lighting. Indirect lighting takes much longer to calculate. So let's just build this up real quick just so we're getting some realistic lighting. So you could go with real skies, or you could go with the sun setting. But I'm going to go with real skies because personally I like the look of the HDRIs. And I want something kind of cloudy. Let's go with this. Okay, and I'm just going to rotate this a bit until we can get a little bit of sun in here. Okay, let's check. Yeah, it's still going to be pretty dark. And now that I see this, we're going to have to add some trees out here. That way it doesn't look like we're floating in the middle of nowhere. And we're going to have to add lights here, right? So we're not done with this view, but by doing this exercise, we can see and like reveal the amount of work that has to be done. So a little bit better, but we definitely have a little bit of a ways to go. And you'll notice that the scene is kind of green. A lot of that could be from the grass reflecting into here. It could also be some of the bright colors that I've had over here. So a couple of reasons why that's happening. So I think this is good for now. I'm going to save it and let's go back to build mode and let's take care of this and add some lights.